We just finished our screening matrix to get to these 4 solutions. So now we're going to go into the ForkYeah Scoring matrix. If you look at the first step, it's the same as with the screening matrix. So we're going to list the design criteria on the left-hand side. We have ease of use, easily refillable, durable, replicable, entertaining and unique, and sanitary.
One thing that's slightly different this time is that we understand that some of our design criteria are more important than the others. So we've assigned these weights to reflect which ones we want to matter more in our decision-making process.
The second step is exactly the same as the screening matrix. So you put your design ideas along the top, except now we only have 4, which are the ones that we selected as the best options out of our screening matrix.
The third step is different in this setup. Previously, we set a standard by picking the flat grader with the grader moving as our standard, and we put zeros all the way down. In this case, for each design criteria, we're going to pick the solution that is most in the middle and give it a 3. And so the criteria is actually, the standard is actually changes for each criteria.
Another distinct difference was before we did 0, positive, negative. Now we're going to do on a scale from 1 to 5. So as Josiah mentioned, 3 is our standard, and we're going to rank whether solutions are better, worse, the same, or like very much better or very much worse.
And better goes to 5 and worse goes to 1.
Okay, so now we just need to fill it out, each solution on each criteria throughout the chart.
So for ease of use, what do we think is the baseline?
I think the flat grader with the grader moving is kind of like it can be a motion that people are used to. So that should be the 3 in that category.
Because if it's been used with one hand, it's closest to what like a normal soap dispenser would be.
Right. So I think a flat grader with the soap moving would be slightly more complicated than that, just because it's less familiar.
In terms of what the user does, though, it's the same mechanism. So I think that might be a 3, just because for the user, it'll be a similar experience.
Okay.
Now, a peeler by itself could be a little bit foreign for a user. Like you see a bar of soap being grated, but you don't really see a bar of soap being peeled. So I'd probably say that would go down to 2.
Okay.
But a cylindrical cheese grater might actually be easier. It's a crank, there's a bar of soap right away. I could see that being like very simple to use.
Okay, so let's give that a 4.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, easily refillable. What is the standard that we're going to set for something being easily refillable? I think maybe the cylindrical cheese grater would be the standard because there is some motion required to do it, but it's not super complicated.
Yeah,
I agree.
I can imagine the peeler being a little bit more difficult, just in terms of the peeler requires a lot of precision in lining it up.
Yeah, I feel like that could actually be really complicated to refill, like to get the soap in exactly the right spot. I think that might even be a 1.
Also keeping it safe.
Yeah. So now the next step is to multiply through by your weights to get a weighted score in each category for each solution.
So it'll be.
And then finally, you sum the weighted scores for each design solution to get the total score for that design solution.
So based off of our scores, we can now kind of rank them relative to each other. So we see here that the flat grader with the grader moving scored highest, so let's rank that first. Next came the cylindrical cheese grater, and then the flat grater with the soap moving, and then the peeler. So we can see here that the flat grater with the grater moving scored significantly higher than any of the other solutions.
And that's mainly because even though towards the bottom, a lot of the solutions had different benefits. Like sanitary, the peeler was super sanitary, even though it scored super low. But that's the benefit of the scoring Pew matrix, because the flat grader did a great job in the categories that really mattered based on our weights, like durability, easily refillable, and ease of use, which are huge things stressed by our client.
So based on this scoring Pew matrix, we have chosen the solution that we think will best fulfill our design criteria, which is the flat grader with the grader moving.